Yeah, good morning, Carl. It's no deal in the United States Senate. Mitch McConnell pushing to add an additional $250 billion to that Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. He's concerned that there's so much demand for that program, it could be running out of funds sooner rather than later. But Democrats blocking that move this morning. They need unanimous consent on the Senate floor in order to get this done because there are so few senators around. Democrats stepping in saying, no. What we want is a much bigger program, an additional $250 billion for states, localities, hospitals, all sorts of other entities. The Democrats envision a much bigger program. They don't want to just pass what's called a clean bill, just focused solely on this small business issue. So they've stepped up to block that. That means no deal, no replenishment of that fund today. We'll see where this goes. Carl, my sense is this is enormously politically popular. There's going to be some jousting over it, but in one form or another, whether it's in a small bill or as part of a larger bill, this plussing up of that small business fund is going to get done at some point here from Congress.
Yeah, Eamon, your point also on Twitter, at least, was that, the discussions we were having watching the Democratic primaries, Andrew Yang and MMT, as a notion, are beginning to get baked into at least some politicians' strategic worldview.
So interesting to watch this happen. You see Andrew Yang on Twitter now talking about the direct payments to Americans. He'd like to see those continued during the length of this crisis. Remember, he campaigned on this idea of a $1,000 check to Americans generally. That idea was in the outer edges of the solar system during the presidential campaign. Andrew Yang made a lot of gains for it theoretically during the course of the campaign, but was always viewed as an outlier. Now, though, I think Americans and American politicians are getting much comfier with the idea of sending checks directly to Americans. And I think that affects our politics in terms of, what happens on the other end of this. Does the idea of universal basic income become something that's in sort of the mainstream debate anyway, even if it doesn't get done? Is it moved more central to the focal point of the debate? Whereas, just a couple of months ago, this was viewed as just the edges of reality in terms of what was politically possible in this country. Now, all of a sudden, that's changing, Carl.